Hi there, Mr. Wheeland. This is my History in 7 Minutes project. I hope you like it. So, in 4004 BC, we have creation, where God created the heavens and the earth and all that. And so, then 250 years later, in 3750 BC, we have Cain murdering Abel out of his jealousy, for Abel and his sacrifice. And then to replace Abel in 3525, we have Seth being born, kind of to replace Abel because Abel was killed and murdered by Cain. And then because of Seth being born in 3250 BC, kingdoms begin to emerge in the Fertile Crescent. And, this is because of Seth's kids. And then in 2948 BC, because of these kingdoms, Noah is born out of these kingdoms. And so, this sets God up to, have Noah build the ark. And then in 2710 BC, construction of the ark begins because of Noah. And then in 2540 BC, the flood begins. And so, so this is the ark over here. All right. Then in 2250 BC, the Tower of Babel is destroyed after the flood, which scatters all the people. And then in 2000 BC, the Bronze Age begins in Europe after the people were scattered. Because of this Bronze Age, in 1750 BC, metal weapons and jewelry are crafted and transported throughout Europe. And then 250 years later, in 1500 BC, because of the Bronze Age, transportation and Bronze Age weaponry begins to be used to gain widespread influence. The Mycenaeans used this idea. And then because of this, in 1250 BC, the Mycenaeans then take total control of Greece. And then 250 years later, in 1000 BC, the Minoan and Mycenaean civilizations just disappear. It's said that they disappeared because of the Sea Peoples. This sets Macedonia up in 800 BC to be founded and take control of the Mycenaean territory. And then in 500 BC, after Macedonia is founded, the Greco-Persian Wars set Alexander up to follow in their footsteps, Alexander the Great. However, in 323 BC, Alexander the Great dies without leaving a successor. So that sets up, Rome in 146 BC to come over and conquer Greece, because it's in chaos. And then, in 4 AD, King Herod, who had been appointed by Rome, attempts, but fails, to kill Jesus. He issued a decree that every boy under the age of 2 in Bethlehem had to be killed. But Jesus had escaped to Egypt at that point. And so 100 years later, in 100 AD, because of Jesus, the Gospel of John and the book of Revelation are written. After this, in 200 AD, the persecution of Christians and Jews becomes a bit more widespread because people disagreed with these books that were written. And in 330 AD, Christianity becomes kind of the underdogs, and they, begin to become popular in Rome and Southern Europe. And then in 400 AD, Christianity becomes the official religion of Rome, which is a big deal at that time because, Rome is still a very prominent country, not nation, country. More along the lines of empire. And then this sets up in 496 AD, this sets Clovis I up to convert to Catholicism because Rome had set an example. And then in 600 AD, the conversion of Clovis I sets an example for England to be converted to Christianity, all of England. And so this then sets another example for Catholicism to begin to grow popular in all of Europe in 700 AD. Not just Rome or Greece, all of Europe. And so then, in 800 AD, the Holy Roman Empire is created. So the Holy Roman Empire was mostly just a lot of the Germanic kingdoms and a little bit of Southern Europe. Not all of this territory over here, like France and Spain, but just mostly the middle ground. And then because the Holy Roman Empire is created, this leads to, some people disagreeing slightly with Catholic beliefs. In 900 AD, the Cluniac Reformation, people start trying to become more monastic in their ways. And this leads in 1054 AD to the Great Schism, where the Western Catholic and the Eastern Orthodox split. This paves the way for the Crusades to begin because the Catholics are now free of the Eastern Orthodox. And because of these Crusades, then the Fourth Crusade begins, and like all these Crusades are mostly just Catholics taking back territory that had either been lost or that they felt as if they needed to take back. And I believe Fourth Crusade, Constantinople gets sacked, but because of all of these Crusades, ideas begin to spread all around Italy as a result of the Crusades. And then in 1400 AD, the Renaissance begins. The Renaissance was this period of invention in art and philosophy unlike any seen before. Because of this Renaissance, in 1534, the Protestant Reformation is able to begin because the Gutenberg press allowed Protestants to spread information quickly. And so they spread the word all over Europe. Then in 1600 AD, the Protestants split from the Catholic Church. They split from the Catholic Church, and so, they're finally free. This leads to, in 1700 AD, England becomes Protestant. Fully Protestant, like very, very Protestant. And so they start sending those Protestants to America to spread the word. And this leads to, in 1800, the Second Great Awakening begins. And then this leads to a bunch of, more denominations popping up. And one of these denominations in 1900 AD was Methodism. Methodism becomes much more prominent in America. And this leads to, in 2000 AD, the United Methodist Church gains over 9 million members. So this was my history in 7 minutes project. Hope you liked it.